Peace, this is Brother Tim, and you have joined us on Gye-Nyame Journey Radio. Be sure to check out our site and subscribe at tribe.gyenamejourney.com.
All my brothers and sisters, hold hands and guard your heads. Let us pray. Your strength and foundation of might, be ready for much to God. How long will you judge unjustly and accept the persons of the wicked? I say, send the form of fathers, who judges to the afflicted in the meeting, deliver the foreign meeting, rid them out of the hand of the wicked. They know not, neither will they understand. They walk wrong and dark. All the foundations of the earth are out of court. I have said, you are God, and all of you are children of the Most High. But you shall die like men and fall like men of the princes. Rise, O God, judge the earth. God shall inherit all nations. Allah is Akbar.
This is Kaba, thanks, and you are now listening to the Gye-Nyame Journey Radio.
Keep up with the journey. Check out what we have done in the past. Go to journeyarchives.com.
This is Adam Sheik, aka Ace, live from Shisha Lounge, and you are now listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio.
Be sure to follow Gye-Nyame Journey on Facebook, Google Plus, and Twitter. Check us out. Join the journey.
This is Adam Sheik, aka Ace, live from Shisha Lounge, and you are now listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio.
You are now listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio with Monica. Enjoy. Good morning, this is Gye-Nyame Journey Radio.
This is Willie. Welcome to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio. I want to give a shout out to Silver Kevin, all my Silver Nation out there. I want to give a shout out to my mom. I give a shout out to my dad for raising me and my family for being around me. And I want to give a shout out to the people of my generation that's trying to do something big.
And you're listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio.
Peace, Hotel. It's Mansour Hotel, aka Mr. Deity. Mr. Deity doesn't sound good. I think it sounds great. Right now, you're listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio. If you're not adding anything to the culture that you claim, you don't deserve to carry its name. This is Brother Tim coming at you live, and you are now listening to the Gye-Nyame Journey Radio. Shout out to the Gye-Nyame tribe, Gye-Nyame family. Stand up. Peace. not adding anything to the culture that you claim, you don't deserve to carry its name. This is Brother Hatem coming at you live, and you are now listening to the Gye-Nyame Journey Radio. Shout out to Tracy Sasha. Stand up. You are now listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio. Peace. This is Gina. And you are now
you listen to my dad.
on Gye-Nyame
Gye-Nyame
Radio. Peace.
I've had enough, family. You heard it. We had enough here on Gye-Nyame Journey, man. I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. Of course, tonight we will be joined in a few minutes by Elder Kaba, Hiawatha, Kamene. For those that are not familiar with him, check out Out from Darkness. Check out Race War. Check out all of the Hidden Colors. Check out the Haiti documentary by Tariq Nasheed. This brother this elder has been all over, and we are going to be blessed tonight to have him coming on live. So family, feel free to post your questions and your comments, and I'll get them to him, and I will be opening up the lines after our initial interview, because tonight I want to kind of hit on his book. And I also want to ask some questions because he was in education for a while. So we're going to have that conversation. But before we do all that, I want to make sure that you know that I am glad that you joined us in the congregation of the mighty, the home of the stubborn minority, the place, let me roll it forward, the place where your hustle builds muscle. This is Gye-Nyame Journey Media. Anime is hot tonight. Of course, you know this is Gye-Nyame Talk. We're not doing the tribal quotes today, but you know this is a heart of a simple protection because the heart beats. And we do nothing but strive to blow up your old paradigms. Family, it has been a busy week for us over here at Gye-Nyame. Let me tell you. Listen, we had the town hall on Kuji Chagalia. I think that was the 10th. Yep, that was the 10th. And let me turn on the fuckery alert. Yup. Fuckery is afoot. So family, let me tell you. So we had this beautiful coming together. ADOs arranged and organized by the ADOS family here in Columbus, Ohio. And man, oh man, the family came out. Some showed out. You know what I'm saying? But it was all good. Good conversation. Ideas flowing. NBC4 was in the house. Fuckery alert. Everything was going good. You know what I'm saying? It's called a Black Town Hall meeting, right? Black Town Hall meeting. They send a white reporter, probably white female, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm thinking she got uncomfortable. Because we was talking about black shit. So they killed the whole story. So people all over Columbus could have heard or had a piece of it or been able to know about it. But of course, no, white supremacy had the rear is ugly head. You know what I'm saying? Because we is offensive. You know why? Because I'm white and I say so. You understand what I'm saying? This is what we deal with. This is why it's important that we start making sure that we support our own media, making sure that we support our own growth, make sure that we are telling our own narratives. That's what Gye-Nyame Journey Media is all about. We discuss the proverbs, we discuss the stories, but I also try to bring news and provide a platform where we can have some intelligent talk and some fun talk too, which can be intelligent. You understand what I'm saying? So family, it's all important that you support. So now, before Elder Kaba come on, I want to make sure that everybody know Gye-Nyame is a tribe. And one of the things that I'm constantly striving to do is to build up on the tribe. Build up on the tribe, right? So we have an e-course that teaches individuals about the tribe that we have, as well as if you want to build your own tribe. You know what I'm saying? You take some of the stuff that you could use and you leave the rest. But we have a free 7-day e-course that we offer here at Gye-Nyame Journey. I want to make sure everybody have access to that. You can check it out. It comes in the video form to your email. So I know a lot of people ain't checking their email. So I'm going to come up with another method to kind of hit you up. But those that are seriously interested, check the email. Go back to the email. Start an email so that you can always go back, because it's going to come up under the same email. It's not going to be a separate email. It's going to come up under the same category. So you got to go through it all so that you can get the whole e-course. So here go the e-course. Here, let me make sure I put GNJ free e-course. Boom. Check that out. And you know, by you checking that out, you support the journey, because you have an opportunity. We provide a one-time offer, right, for you. Also, those that are in here and you like some of the stuff that you see, like you see the shirts that I'm wearing, you want to rep the fact that you get up with us and toast your ancestors daily and stuff like that, or something. We have our merch store. And it's at GNJ, it's in GNJ Media Live. You can go straight to GNJ Media Live and get that. And we also gonna have some giveaways coming up during, because we hitting Kwanzaa season fast. So we will be giving away some free merch. And the best way to get qualified for some of that stuff is to get on our GNJmedia.live. Go to GNJmedia.live, or just go to the merch store, or go to our YouTube channel, get on there so that you can get points and be in that giveaway. Other people that want to get on the giveaways, the other way to get in some of the giveaways that we're gonna be doing now as well as in the future is you gonna go and you're going to join the Black Line, right? My fault, the Black Signal. The Black Line is the phone line. I'll be giving that out after me and Elder Kaba talk. But you go to, check it out, you're going to text the letters GNJ to the number 25456. And that will put you on our piece so that you can stay up with us whenever we're doing something. You can join us and always have the information that you need. Last but not least, those that be like, Brother Hatim, look, man, I like what you're doing. We just want to support.
This call is being recorded.
I'm going to give you the tip jar. Somebody is on the line. Who is calling in?
Hotep to my brother Hatim. This is your brother Kaba, Hiawatha, Kamene calling, brothers. Looking forward to a discussion.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Family. Let's give a round of applause to Elder Kaba, Hiawatha, Kamene.
All right.
Hey man, it's nothing more beautiful than when our people get together. It's nothing more beautiful than a black man that keeps his word. Listen, he said, I will be on at 9:15, and look, at 9:15 exactly, the brother has come in and joined. So now what I'm going to ask the family to do is those that are on the line, go on, like and share and let people know that the elder is in the house. I will open up the lines for questions. If you have stuff that you want to say or you want me to ask, by all means, feel free to text it in. Now, check this out. right? Check this out. So listen in close so that you can win. We got somebody on. Oh, that's Sister Navita. What's up, Sister Navita? Shouts out to me too 666. Oh my God. Shouts out to Cynthia Johnson as well. But all right, so we got the elder on here, and I only got him for a couple of minutes because y'all know he's a very busy man. For those that don't know, Elder Kaba has been on. He's the documentary king. You go to Race War, all of the hidden colors, the one that was done about Haiti, Out of Darkness, and he probably working on one right now. So family, if you would give a round of applause and show some love to Elder Kaba, Hiawatha, Kamene. All right, Elder, can you hear me good?
I hear you clear, brother man.
All right, cool, because I got the mic on for you today. But check this out. I want to make sure I got to get over here so I can make sure that I could close off the conversation so that, because people will be calling in a second, and I don't want them to disturb what we got going on. But the first thing is, I understand that you have been involved. I mean, actually, in a sense, you started your career in education. Is that true?
Yes, brother. Yes, my brother. I worked in South Central Bronx as an educator from October of 1979 until July of 2009, 31 years. I've taught every grade, including college. I taught college for 14 years. I've taught high school. I've taught kindergarten, preschool. I've taught every type of special ed, special ed, bilingual education. So I have a sense when I come to the community, with experience. I don't come with theory, things I've heard, things people have told me. I've come from real live experiences in the classroom, working with our young people on many different levels, brother. And I'm just so proud of their achievements and what they've done. I come as an advocate for children because the children are ready, Brother Hatim. It's important that we understand that. They're ready. My question to us as the elders is, are we ready?
You hitting on something now. Shouts out to Philip Shock Matthews. He's on the line. He's out there, but brother, if you want to call in, by all means, you can call in as well. But now, Elder Kaba, let me ask you this, because this being a person that's in education, and I understand that you, for some years as well, also focused on educating the babies, because you said you went from preschool all the way up to college. Is that true?
Yes, it is, brother. My first I taught high school in Gary, Indiana. I taught in an all-black high school, Roosevelt High School, in 1977. I had gone there for another job, but while there, they offered me a job teaching radio and television. And so I took the job because the job I went for did not interfere time-wise with working in a school during the day. And I figured that's a good way to get to know the community, learn the children, meet the parents. And I returned to New York, and I wanted to continue my educational teaching career. So my first license is in early childhood. I started as a kindergarten teacher. This was before preschool really was as prevalent as it is now. Kindergarten basically was the youngest at that time. They did have preschool, but they didn't have it like they have it now in the public school system. So my earliest grade was kindergarten. Within 10 years, they started the preschool program, and I started to teach the 3- and 4-year-olds. So I began with the children, with the babies, because I knew if I could get to babies before the nonsense was written on the chalkboards of their mind, then I would have, and they would have an advantage because, again, like I tell people, it is my exposure to my culture as a very young person that allowed me to navigate the nonsense that so many of us have to deal with as we mature.
Man.
So I was with the babies. And I'm still with them on Facebook, be it as it is. I still have young people call, because my name wasn't Kaba, Hiawatha, Kamene then. My name was Booker Taliaferro Coleman, named after my father, who was named after Booker T. Washington. So my students knew me by Brother Booker T or Mr. Coleman. So that now that they're in their 40s and they go out and they see Hidden Colors, I get instant messages saying, Brother Kaba, are you the same man that taught at CES 70, Community Elementary School 70, or Community Elementary School 229, or Community Intermediate Middle School, 218, 219? And I say, yeah, that's me. They say, you were my kindergarten teacher.
Now let me ask
They're in their 40s, man.
Because I'm running into young people, and they be like, you remember me? And I'm like, they got a full beard and all this. I'm like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? But now check this out, Elder. How important is it in education for our children to experience strong black men? I mean, that might be a general question, but I want this from your perspective, because I want some of my people out here to hear this. How important do you believe it is for black men to get involved in education, especially at the younger ages?
Well, first, let me thank all of the sisters who have so valiantly been educators and teachers and been able to shape a lot of, when I first started teaching in the Bronx, we used to call them crackerjacks. But crackerjacks are those types of teachers that just got it solid down. They're very good teachers. And many of my early mentors in the educational system were sisters that basically were 40, 50, 60 years of age, that sensed my sincerity in wanting to do something for the children. And they took me underneath their wings, and they taught me and they helped me. And they allowed me, they were the type of sisters that, when you have a classroom that's a little unruly, and the teacher got to yell and scream and all the rest of that kind of, sort of stuff. These crackerjacks are the type of sisters that would just walk into the room and just put two fingers up, the peace sign. And within 15 seconds, man, the whole room was quiet. Didn't have to yell, didn't even have to say a word, just put her fingers up. And everybody got quiet. That's the type of teacher I'm talking about, that has mastery of the classroom management. And so I thank my sisters for all the great work that they've done through the years. But brothers, we have to now step in and do this job. We now have to balance the sisters, because your question is very important, because I'm on a crusade to encourage young brothers in college, even high school, to think about becoming a teacher. If you want to be a change agent, if you want to be part of what will change the future, teachers are change agents. We change the future. And I could write a book on my time with young people in kindergarten class, first grade class, second grade class, who would come into my class and say, Brother Booker T, you look like my father. They say, I wish you were my father. Can I call you Dad? Because the image, I've told brothers before who are in the classroom when I work with them, I say you could stand in front of the classroom, not open your mouth, and have a dramatic impact on all those children. The evidence is already in. There is a difference in the classroom when a black man is in the front of the class teaching the class. It's already been done. The studies have already been done. We already see the difference. I live the difference. So, a lot of the information that's coming forward as people are doing this work, I've lived it. People have done research on me in my classroom in terms of the impact. And I'm sure the same goes for you, Brother Hatim. The difference that your presence in that classroom makes. Not just that, but in interacting with the parents, it has an impact.
Man.
In dealing with the community, it has an impact because eventually I would get into administration, and my thing soon became I had 35 schools, 27 elementary and 8 junior high schools. That I was the director of social sciences. I was the one that developed the social studies curriculum for these 35 schools. And so I used to walk every place. I used to walk from school to school within the neighborhood. And so folks in the street, I lived in the Bronx, and so I would go to the supermarket and see my children. I'd go to the movie house, and my wife and I and our children, they would see me with my family. So that the impact that a black male has in the classroom and in the school, and the relationship that the female staff and the male staff have in terms of support. Because I've been in schools before when if something erupts in the classroom, every teacher steps out and sees what's going on. In that case, there's many chances that some children that might act inappropriately won't act inappropriately, knowing that that brother is going to be out there checking them. So it has a lot to do with not just the educational academic program, but the emotional program too. It's aided by brothers in schools. And a lot of teachers who might want to take advantage of a system would think twice. Now that I can tell you, there have been issues where some of the brothers had to step to some of the other teachers of other cultures that thought they were going to step out their game. And when a brother's in the room to let them know, you ain't doing that here. Not as long as I'm here, you ain't going to do that. It makes a difference in the school. It brings confidence to all the teachers, both male and female, because sisters, because they are the first mothers and teachers of our community, they also help others in so many different phenomenal ways. It's a balance. It's ma'at. It's the balance of righteousness and justice and truth when a brother's in the classroom working with the young people.
I hope the brothers out there listening up, because we got to step up our game.
I'm on a crusade.
I hear you.
I'm on a crusade to bring brothers in. If you're wondering what you want to major in college, major in whatever you want to major in, but make sure you get credits in education. Get 12 credits in education. Double major. If you're in computer science, that's good. You're a mathematician, that's good. But also get another major in education. Make sure you get some credits in special ed. Make sure you get some credits in teaching literacy, reading to the children.
Man, now let me ask this, because you have a very, very unique style in how you communicate information. This is why you have been successful in been successful with the documentaries, because you bring across information that touch people in a certain way. Did working with young people help shape that? Now that's the first question. Second question is, what are some of the most important lessons that you learned while you was in the classroom with some of our babies? And then we're going to get into the book.
Okay. To your first question. Tell me your first question again, bro. I got so caught up in the second question.
I'm sorry. How did you working in education with our babies affect your...
Oh, yes. My teaching style, absolutely. I tell people all the time, my greatest advantage in education was in working with babies, because when you're working with 5 and 6 year olds, you have to walk into the classroom and you must assume that the children don't know what you're about to talk to them about. Yet you have to talk to them as if they know everything that you're talking about. And by that I mean, I believe that you are born with every bit of information that you will ever acquire. It's called the Akashic Records. I believe you have all the education. Everything that you will ever learn, you already are born. So I've always approached even my 5-year-olds like, you already know this. All I'm doing is making it possible for you to know that you already know this. So more than being a teacher, I consider the word facilitator important, which I am facilitating. See, educare means to educe. To educe means to draw out. So that it's not like it's put in, it's to draw out. And that's an ancient African method. And so when I present myself to the community, I can talk to a 60-year-old as if they're a 6-year-old, but not make a 60-year-old think I'm talking down to them, and not talk so high up that the 6-year-old don't understand what I'm talking about. I keep my sentences very simple. I try to stay away from complex sentences, multiple sentences in one phrase. I break it down. I also make a habit of, if I'm using a word that I think the community might not be familiar with, I will define the word as I'm talking to them, so they know what the word means. I make no assumptions in my audience. Like, you know this, because for so many of our people, when they hear some of the things that we talk about, it's like being on a 5-year-old level. They ain't never heard some of the things I talk about.
Right.
So it becomes important that we know how to deliver information, and being with children help me do that. What was the second question?
The second question was, what were some of the most important lessons you personally learned by working with these babies? You know what I'm saying? Just an example.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm quite sure, because we're going to be able to jump right into the book from this one.
Okay, well, let me tell you this. When I taught kindergarten class, I always tell this story to folks just to give you an example of what I'm talking about. When I would teach my kindergarten class, there would be, there's like 4 or 5 other kindergarten classes in the school. And I was one of them. And what I used to do is, on the first, second, third day, in terms of penmanship, I started with children putting a dot on the page. A dot. That's all. Next to that, another dot, another dot, another dot, another dot, another dot. Come down, dot, 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 dot. So parents would come and say, Mr. Coleman, I've got another child in another kindergarten class. Now, my child in your class come home with dots on a page. But my other child came home with the letter A. What's up in the classroom? Why does one child know the letter A and the other child is only doing dots? I said, please have faith in me. I know what I'm doing. Just give me an opportunity. Okay? Maybe a day or two in penmanship class, we'd be doing dots. The next thing was a dot and straight line. Dot and straight line. Dot and straight line. Parents dropping off the children are looking at me sideways. They're respecting me, but they're wondering, my child's on the letter C now, and the child in your class is drawing straight lines. What's up? They didn't say it, but they thought it. I said, okay. Some did. I said, just have faith in me. Okay, next penmanship class, start with a dot, go with a straight line, and then curve the line into a circle. Dot, straight line, curve line. Dot, straight line, curve line. Okay, now here's why I did that. One of the most important things in penmanship, particularly block letters, I'm not talking about script, I'm talking about block letters. One of the first things is, it's very important. Your signature and your script could vary, but block letters normally always are the same, and most children up until the 2nd grade are using block letters. Script normally comes in end of 1st grade going into 2nd grade. So that the reason why I did that was because the first step in good penmanship is motor coordination, not learning the letters. You can learn the letters. The question is, if I look at your A, do I know it's an A or do I think it's a tree? If I'm looking at your C, can I mistake it for a G? So that when I did the dot, when we did the straight lines, when my children wrote A, because the A is a straight line, short straight line. Or B is a straight line, half a curved line, half a curved line. C is a curved line. In other words, every letter of the alphabet is going to be one of those visuals, and you're always going to start with a dot. You'll either make a straight line or you'll make a curved line. But sometimes, if you don't have motor coordination, your block letters ain't going to look right. So the point that I'm making to you when you ask me, is there something I learned with babies, is that there is a methodology of the delivery of information that we get caught up in. Okay, so your child now is in the third day of penmanship, and they know up to the letter C. But within 4 to 5 weeks, my children, just like the other children, will know the alphabet, but my children's penmanship will be A-OK. Here's another thing I learned. Now, that has to do with methodology and teaching. Here's another thing I learned. We keep telling our children to learn, to go home and study. But we have not taught them how to study. I have studied the Sorbonne method, which is an African-centered method that the French took up when the Moors went into Europe. It's a Sorbonne method of study. We tell our children to study, but we ain't never taught them how to study. And some of our children spend hours of study where when you use my method, you can study 20 minutes and absorb all the information you need to absorb in 20 minutes that another child is going to study for 2 hours. The other thing is, I form study groups. 4 to 5 students to a group. So if I had a class of 30 students, I had 6 groups of 5 students. The last thing that I'd like to say that I learned, Brother Hatim, and to the audience, is something I taught my college students, knowing what happened when they were in kindergarten. Knowing what I see happening in the world today. It was one of the first questions I asked on every test I ever gave my college students. And the question was, what is a skill? You don't learn skills. You have skills. You learn strategies that embellish and enhance your skills. You can't learn a skill. That's why young people today, they say, I got skills. And I tell them, you're right, you got skills. I can't teach you skills. I can teach you strategies that will improve your skills, but I can't teach you skills. That's something you're born with. The first question I ask, what is a skill? And the answer is listening. Listening is a skill. And one of the problems that we are facing in the United States of America today, with what we're going through in the political system, the major problem we have, Hatim, and to the community that's listening, is ain't nobody listening. Nobody's listening to what actually is being said. Because if you were really listening to what was being said, and if you had honor and integrity in your heart, you wouldn't have to worry about what you were going to do. Listening is a skill. And I enforce that. I make students understand listening is a skill. Listen to me. Focus. The team that brought forward the series of books, Chicken Soup for This and Chicken Soup for That, they also wrote a book, The Power of Focus. Focus is very important when you are dealing with an issue. And I believe that when we focus, we can learn things much quicker than if our minds are scattered.
I agree.
If we learn how to focus, whatever, and everybody has a different way of focusing. And if we learned what is the key to us focusing, how do you focus? I don't want to teach you how to focus. I just want to tell you how important focusing is, and then you find your method of focus. Some people use music. I plays me some Beethoven when I want to focus, because that brother knew how to play the piano. So music is part of my ability to focus. For some people, music distracts them. So what is good for me may not be good for you. But the point is, find your focus. You know what's interesting? I was at one time going around the district teaching children how to prepare for the state test. And third grade was the first grade at one point that the children were tested. And I used to order through my budget, I used to order like thousands of pencils with erasers. And I would go into a classroom and I would tell the children, I'd say, listen, let me tell you something. All the answers to the test is in the eraser. What I want you to do is that when you come upon a question that you are doubtful of in terms of being able to answer, I want you to focus on the eraser for a few seconds, and the answer will come to you. What was funny, Brother Hatim, is that when I would go back to the classroom that I may have been in, some of the students would tell me, oh, that didn't work. But there were other students that say, you know, that worked. And really what I was doing was I was allowing the children to use something to focus.
Right.
I used the eraser. If there's anything you could have used, you could have used a picture in the classroom. But as long as you could focus, what you did is you connected your neurons to be able to respond to the question that was being asked. And so that's another example of my methodology of teaching, which has nothing to do with what we do in the classroom teaching math or science. These are little things that our ancestors in Africa would assist our children in the classroom with them to understand. That's what made them Gye-Nyame or master teachers, because they not only taught content, which is what you teach, but they also taught intent, which is methodology or how you teach. We teach our children a study, go home and study, but who taught the children how to study? You need to teach the children how to study. There's a method of study. Every week I read upwards of sometimes, right now, this week, I'm reading 11 books. I don't read one book, I read 11 books. I don't read them all and finish them in the week, but I read a chapter here, maybe a page or two there, because your neurons are connecting in ways that you don't normally connect them. So these are little things that I used, and I believe that has been successful. And also, just to give, okay, I'm going to give something away now, so I'm going to tell you something. There are some people who have told me that my delivery, there are sometimes that I use humor. I'm funny. I tell it in a funny way, they laugh. But if you study what I say, what you'll notice is right after I say something to make you laugh, I'm going to give you a bitter pill that you have to swallow. Because sometimes you need honey to swallow that big pill. And sometimes with what we go through as a people, you need a little something that's going to allow you to swallow what I'm about to tell you. So I use humor. Like when you're going to swallow a big pill, you need honey to make it a little bit easier to swallow.
Yes, sir.
I use that with truth, because sometimes truth is hard to swallow. In fact, we're living in a world where when someone is told a perfect lie, the truth is unbelievable.
Yeah, we see that all the time. Now, I have a question. I got a question.
We're living it.
Yeah, we living it all the time. Sister Navita Nelson, shouts out to Sister Navita. Yeah.
I know my sister. We friends on Facebook.
Yes.
Hooked up to my sister Navita.
Yes, she's gonna be calling in. She said, "Why is there a shortage of black males as teachers? Why do you believe there's a shortage of black males as teachers?"
Well, part of it is planned. I know a lot of brothers that are capable of being teachers, but they're not being hired. But also is we have to prepare them for education. When I say we, I'm talking about me and those that want.
Okay.
And there's going to come a time when those 23-year-old women of European descent, because I've had second grade teachers tell me they're afraid of the black boys in their class. And I tell them, but like, if you're scared of a 7-year-old, how can you teach them if you're scared of them?
Very true.
You get a sister or a brother up in that classroom, as I've been in classroom, I look at the brother like, yo, bruh, what's up with you? You know how you going to act in this class. So why you even, and how can I be afraid of somebody I once was? So I believe there's a shortage because they're trying to keep their daughters, who are 23 and probably failed out of most of what they tried to do. They want their daughters to have jobs, so they hire 23-year-old women that can't handle our children. And that blocks out brothers because once brothers get in, they handle issues. Now, I'm not saying that all of them, there's good and not so good in all things.
Right.
Because I've come upon some brothers that I tell them, you really need to find another occupation because you don't belong to these. I have met some like that. But I have also met some of the most dynamic human beings with a love and trust for the children, that the children just love them, and the brothers stay after school. I had children used to walk me to the garage to my car because they wanted to keep talking to me. And I'm sure you've had the same experience.
Yes, sir.
When our children, particularly our young brothers, pick up that, because here's my simple thing. Here's my success. Love our people. And I honor, respect, and love our children. And my purpose is to make you better than me. Not like me, better than me. And here's how we're going to do it. And I explain to them what it is that they have to do. And so to answer Navita's question, part of it is planned. They don't want brothers in the classroom because we'll take over education, just like we'll take over everything else. And then when we get good, they're going to start to Simone Biles us. I got a new term now. I call it Simone Biles. That when you do something so good, they don't let you do it because they can't do it. So they tell you, what you do don't count. But you see, Simone Biles told them something. She said, so what, you don't count it? I'm still going to do it because it's going to become a measure that you're going to have to mark. So what I tell people is, that's okay, but I'm still going to do it. I'm still going to be excellent, even though you can't match me. I know you can't match me. You never could. That's why you denied me the right to get an education. That's why you forbid me to read, because you knew that once I figured out how to read, I would end up Kaba, Hiawatha, Kamene, teaching black children how to be better than Kaba, Hiawatha, Kamene.
And also, Navita asked another question. She said, can he address the preschool to prison pipeline, please?
Well, for me, that's existed all the time. The only thing that's different now is we became aware of it.
Right.
They've always had us on that. They've always had us on that. So that's nothing new. What's new is we got hip to theirs. We peeped their card. We know what they're doing now. But that's always been there. And that's why when you got a brother up in the classroom, because I taught at Rikers Island, I've taught in prisons, I've taught like in terms of right outside Fresno. I visited a place where it's penitentiary place. It ain't nobody seeing the light of day in their lifetime. And so I have stories to tell because some of the most brilliant minds I've ever met in my life have been in prison and in special ed. And what I tell the children is, I'm not surprised that you are in prison or special ed, because they're watching you and they know that you are going to surpass everything that they are. So if they don't put you away now, you'll put them away later. It's up to us. We know their game. We know what they've been doing. We need to get to our young brothers and talk to them. I tell them stories about prison. You know, when I used to go to Rikers Island, Rikers Island also has a high school. And I used to teach not only in the adult facilities, and not just male, but also female, called the Rose Singer Wing in Rikers. I used to visit them normally in February, talk to the sisters. But they also had a high school. And I used to visit the high school and talk to the young people that are incarcerated. And I also used to do staff development with the staff. And when I used to talk to the young people, I used to explain to them. And you see, the thing is that when young people go away and they come back into the community, they talk about how big and bad it was and what they did and all the rest of that old stuff. But, you know, the correction officers used to tell me that at 11 o'clock when the lights go out, you hear people crying like babies. So when they come back into the neighborhood, they big and bad now. I've been to school. I've been there. I did that, man. But when you were there, man, when them lights went out, you was crying like a baby. So stop trying to act like you big and bad. And so I used to tell the young people stories like that, you know, and they would laugh. I stayed away from the other kind of stories that would create another type of mentality. I tried to stay with stories that, you know, I used to get the roughnecks in my class, man. Or even in a hallway, they started saying, yo, Brother Kaba, can you tell me another story about when you were in Rikers Island? They love those stories about Rikers Island. That's how I could get them quiet. No, there were times I used to stop my class by telling a story about Rikers Island, but I ended up talking about what I taught them, which was part of my class, but I used Rikers to open up the conversation to get the roughnecks quiet so they listen to what I had to say.
Okay.
So, you know, I mean, we have to understand that 13th Amendment consolidates the fact that they never got rid of enslaving people. It says it right there. The 13th Amendment says they sidestepped the plantation into jail. And they did it by using a contrasting conjunction, except. The 13th Amendment talks all about how that slavery, blah, 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 no longer exists. And then they say, comma, except when you go to prison. So what they're telling you is prison no longer exists except if you go to prison. That's when we take your voting rights from you. That's when they take your human rights from you. That's when, and see, the other thing about going away is that even after you come back, when you are on probation, you're still in prison, but you're imprisoned another way.
Lord, all right. So, hopefully he answered your question. Now, one last question, and we gotta get into the book, family. So here we go. Sister Cynthia asked the question: because you answered the first part of her question, but she asked, does this pipeline apply to our girls as well?
Absolutely. In fact, it applies to the girls more than to the boys, even though we don't realize it, because who brings forward the children that will populate the planet but the sisters? So if they get you in prison early, then they don't have to worry about you giving birth to children. Absolutely. But also, let's be very clear. There are more black males and females in college than there are in prison. Let's be clear on it. because a lot of that is wishful thinking. It becomes important that we celebrate our success. We can talk about our challenges, but let's understand something. There are more brothers and sisters graduating and going to college than there are brothers and sisters who are in prison. And that's very important to understand also, family, because so many times we tend to want to lean towards the negative and not accentuate the positive. We are a great people doing great things, and good old days for black folk haven't come yet. Because to have good old days, you have to somehow have had good days. Black folk have never had good days in America. Our good days are yet to come. And we're in the process of making that happen,
That's
particularly
right.
for our children, because they deserve the best.
They sure do.
They are the best, and they deserve the best. I don't care, roughneck. I don't care if you serve some time. I love our people unconditionally. Wherever you find yourself, whether you pimp or prostitute or whatever, I got nothing but love and respect, because if you are black and alive in 2019, I got nothing but respect for you.
So you
Because you're a walking miracle.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You recently released a book that you have been working on for years called Spirituality Before Religion. Could you share a little bit about that book? And well, first off, let's start off like let's dive deep into it, and then we'll come back out. Why should people be interested in your book, Spirituality Before Religion?
There are various ways that I could answer that question, but I just want to give you, to the best of my knowledge, something that I experienced. All of my life that I have lived, I've been very spiritual. I've always been seeking higher, omnipotent powers. About 4 years ago, and I've been searching, I've been reading our history, our culture as African people. And I've been searching for what existed before religions. I grew up Roman Catholic. I've been searching for things that before religions existed, what existed? What did we do? 4 years ago, just before I was invited to celebrate with Dr. Ray Hagan and the African Village in Atlanta, their annual conference, they invited me to come speak. My presentation, which is now in DVD, was a two-part presentation on the book I was about to start to write. Because, family, when I learned certain things about spirituality, not religion, I'm talking about spirituality, I realized almost like an epiphany come over me. Not a religious thing. I'm not claiming no religious thing. I'm just saying, when I said, oh my goodness, I came to realize that I needed to share this with the family. This just wasn't a personal odyssey or journey. This was a journey I went on to be able to share with other people who might want to. Nowhere in the book do I mention any religion. It is not meant to put down a religion. It doesn't talk about what a religion is, but by the time you get to the end of my book, every religion or system, whether it be agnostic or atheist or Christian, Hebrew, Muslim, Buddhist, Rosicrucian, Zen Buddhist, Zen Confucius, whatever, you'll see your scripture on the walls of Africa. Our ancestors had set the tone and the pace for the energetic systems of science. That's why they call it sacred science. That's why the subtitle of my book, Spirituality Before Religion, is Spirituality is Unseen Science. Science is Seen Spirituality. In other words, There are times I've gone to speak in a church. To get their attention, I will tell the congregation, I don't believe in God. Well, that starts some stuff up in there now.
Yes, it will.
And I tell them, I don't have faith in God. And I say, well, before y'all get up and leave, let me tell you, I know God. See, you can lose your faith and you can stop believing. But once you know, you know. And the strength of spirituality is I can show you your scripture in scientific principles. And I end the book in a chapter where I demonstrate for you, in no uncertain terms, the science of spirituality and the spiritualness of science. Our ancestors had mastered this. However, like Wade Nobles tells us, what we're experiencing now, be it education or religion, is like vomit. And while that's a nasty analogy, Dr. Nobles warns us, don't throw the vomit away. Don't eat it. Don't smell it. Don't touch it. But realize that in that vomit is the original meal that was prepared. But the Greeks and the Romans and the Assyrians, when they sat at the feet of Africans, they did not have the intellectual enzymes to be able to break that rich meal down. So they regurgitated it. They vomited it. And that's what we're experiencing. Our educational system is vomit. Our religious systems, vomit. Our social systems, vomit. You know, some folk be reaching out to me in terms of knowing that Dr. John Henry Clark leaned towards socialism, saying that because I consider myself his student, that I'm a socialist too. But what I tell people is, first of all, you can't even deal with these terms because you're talking from a European perspective. You're talking from a Eurasian perspective. Socialism. You can't get Marx or Lenin and talk about socialism. You can't talk about capitalism. The richest man in the world was an African Mansa Musa, broke the bank of the world. In today's language, he would be a capitalist. But he broke the bank because he gave gold out everywhere he went. That would have made him a socialist. So we got to get rid of these definitions that Eurasians have given us, and we have to look to our own definition. That's why the second day of Kwanzaa, Kujichagulia,
that's my day,
self-determination, we have to determine for ourselves who we are.
Right.
We have to look at our spiritual systems and understand that, like I remember when I was Roman Catholic growing up, and we used to go to confession on Friday to confess our sins. And at the end, the priest would absolve us and tell us to go to the front of the church and say 3 Hail Marys and 1 Our Father. And we were supposed to be forgiven for our sins. Now, as a young person, if I was going to do something wrong, I would go to confession thinking that whatever I did, I'd be forgiven if I just went to confession. But in reality, according to Ma'at, there is no one that can absolve you from your ills and your sins but your heart. And that's why our ancestors had the heart weighed on the feather on the scales of Ma'at. Because only your heart knows the truth. And so as we're living our life and we see these people conducting themselves as they are going to pay a price. Because one of the principles, characteristics of Ma'at is reciprocity, which is also called karma. What goes around comes around. That's not a religious or spiritual concept. That's a scientific system. If you throw a rubber ball up against the wall, it's going to come back to you. That's science. If you bounce a ball down, it's going to come back up. That's science. If you send out ill feelings, those ill feelings are going to come back. And I believe that right about now, at the end of 2019, going in 2020, there's some karma about to come out on this world right here that we're living in. And the last shall come first, and the first shall come last. That's not spiritual. That's science.
Man.
And that's why I wrote the book. Because I want our community to understand from their own perspective. Everybody that reads the book is going to take something that is very unique from it. I wrote it as I teach for anyone, wherever you find yourself. I wrote it on a 6th grade level, vocabulary. I'm using 6th grade vocabulary. I'm using simple sentences. I'm not trying to confound nobody, not trying to be cute, not trying to say stuff that, I'm trying to be very straightforward in my work. And for those who have read the book, you know what I'm saying. You know what the book says.
Yes, sir.
And it's a bestseller on Amazon.
Right.
The reviews and the responses I'm getting from the community, I am convinced that what I set out to do, I've done. Just by what our community has told me that they've taken from the book.
It is
And I encourage us in this Kwanzaa season, it's a wonderful way for us all to either share by getting a copy of Spirituality Before Religions for someone that we would like to share this information with. It's not insulting. Makes no difference what, because I ain't got a religion, Brother Hatim. I don't have a religion. I'm not trying to get you to stop being a Christian. I'm not trying to get you to stop being a Hebrew or stop being or make you leave Islam. What I'm saying is that if you're a Muslim, Africanize your Islam. If you're a Hebrew, Africanize your Hebrew text. If you're a Christian, Africanize your Christianity. I don't have a religion for you. I didn't write the book to convert you to something that I wouldn't know where to take you if I tried. Spirituality is a journey with no destination. And it's something I wanted to share with the community because I felt that it was so important to embrace this as we move into 2020. We have to be clear on what it is that we have to do as a people. And each and every one of us is born with a very divine gift. And the cornerstone are the 2 commandments that the cosmic reality have given us. And the first law given to us by the cosmic reality is that each and every one of us is the creator having a human experience. And the second commandment is, as you treat others, is how you treat yourself.
That's why.
So if you dishonor the creator in others, you dishonor the creator in yourself.
That's why in Gye-Nyame we talk about spirituality is about relationships. You know, so relationships with people around you, relationships with the world, relationships with it's all about nurturing and producing relationships. And you can always tell somebody's spirituality by the level of their relationships around them. But now what I want to do is I want to open up the lines. We got a couple people on lines. Call-in line number is 614-556-4535. Once again, the call-in line is 614-556-4535. Somebody has been waiting on the line. We have a Columbus number starting with 615. I'm about to open up the line for you. Go ahead. 615. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I was just actually listening.
Okay.
I am so sorry. I was just listening.
Who is this?
But
that's all right. Thank you for listening, my sister.
Oh yes. This is Carmen. I'm out of Columbus, Ohio.
Columbus.
And I'm just absorbing everything. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate everything because I have a daughter, a 2-year-old daughter, and I stay to myself a lot, and I study and I listen to you, and with listening, and I want a homeschooler. I'm 33 years old. I want a homeschooler, and just taking in all this, taking in everything, and I feel the veil lifting. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel so many things just come to me, and I'm in appreciation for everything that's going on and being able. I have a lot of peers here in Columbus. It's kind of conscious, but it's really conscious actually. But my peers, the younger folks, are actually more conscious. You know what I mean? And they teaching the older people, but it's people within my age range with like the 30s that's really need to. I don't know. I can't explain it. Like you said, I was just thinking, just like you said, what we know, it came to me. I wasn't talking, I was talking to one of my friends, but it just came to me yeah, I'm going to deal with people on a vibrational level. If they're not really on my wavelength, then I probably won't talk to them, but I can't explain it, but I want to, because people are one-sided, but I have to, because I'm pretty attractive, a little smart, and I'm kind of hit, and I'm really into my spirit of youth, you know what I mean? So I can reach a lot of people, especially being in foster care and all kinds of stuff, you know what I'm saying? So I was saying that I'm losing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we want
people. Everybody has a craft. Everybody, but they're lost. It seems like they've forgotten it. With me, starting to, because all I do is sit at home and study and take care of my daughter and stuff. But reaching out now, I'm feeling better to reach out. You know what I'm saying? Know what's going on and stuff. So I'm noticing that people are just lost. There is no type of magnetism in the conversation. And once you go to a spiritual level and read through all the bullshit, you know what I'm saying? You'll be able to realize that, once you talk on a loving side, you'll be able to realize that there is a hurt or something. You got to go into a spirit, healing. And I feel like that's my part. And to awaken people's gifts and stuff. I don't know. Everybody, and with my daughter, she's so mature. I just feel like she's like an ancestor. She teaches me so many things. It's like she knows. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. She's 2 years old. I'm 33. I have 2 sons, and it's
check one, check two.
So many things that you're saying is confirmation. It's like I've been getting downloads, things I've just been knowing. And for me to be able to tap in the line and listening to you, and you just confirmed so many things, I really appreciate it. I'm sorry.
Well, my sister Carmen, exactly what I said earlier is the fact, to educate, educe is to draw out. And so as you're listening to me, everything I said, you already knew. All I did was
Sorry, fam, I got cut off. They still on, so I'm going to call right back in. It happens all the time here on the journey.
This conference is being recorded by the organizer.
So that what I encourage us to understand is what exactly is homeschooling. That becomes very important to understand that there's ways that you can homeschool just by being a parent. That's how I homeschool my children. Was they went to school, I went to work. Their mom took care of whatever had to go down. But the bottom line was I made sure that I was their ultimate and principal teacher and that their mother was their ultimate and principal teacher. And I just sent you to school to learn how to socialize and learn how to pass these crazy tests.
All right. I just got back on, man. I got cut off my own line once again, but hey, I'm glad the conversation is still going on. I want to open up the call to Miss Lady J. Thank you, Miss Carmen, and continue listening in.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Lady J, are you in the house?
I am.
Go ahead. You got greetings. How you doing this evening?
I'm blessed. Thank you for asking.
Well, you on the line with Elder Kaba. Go ahead. If you got a comment or a question.
Yes, greetings, Elder. I just want to say to Carmen, what she was referencing as far as confirmation just made me think of enlightenment, and kind of what happens when you receive that confirmation and those light bulbs kind of go off and those dots begin to connect. So I just want to say kudos to her and her journey that she is on. I want to thank you for your comments, especially those surrounding spirituality versus religion. I also want to thank you because you said something that is key and something that I often share and say with regards to accentuating the positive, and the fact that we can have the discussions about our state, but we also have to acknowledge and kind of perpetuate and bombard and express those things that we do well and those things that are working, because it seems like oftentimes people will promote and focus on those things that we are not doing or those things that are not going well for us, and those tend to overshadow those things that do well. With reference to I came in on the conversation about education and men being in the classroom, and I have found that there is a different, and there is a benefit from having Black men in schools. I work in a public school district where the gross majority of our youth are African American and economically disadvantaged, and the teachers are not. I luckily work at a building that is probably 50-50, but the majority of the buildings in the district are not that case. It's not that case. And so when I think about education, when I think about what we have to do, like you said, everyone may not be able to afford to homeschool their children. And what you said, I often say we send our children to school for schooling, but it is our job to educate them, as did my parents with me. But I think that I think that there is a calling, and there is a need. We need to remember that we have to actively encourage our children, like the Europeans do, to go into education and other fields where we are underrepresented. Because there are districts, there are places who are actively seeking to hire Black men, actively seeking to hire Black women, but not enough of our youth are going into education. So I want to know, do you know of any programs or any initiatives that are encouraging minorities, preferably I'm going to just say Black men, to go into education, that are heavily recruiting or that are offering, like I said, incentives to entice those individuals who are needed in education to go into education? It's unfortunate. In my eyes, I see that when people
young people express they want to go into education, they are often discouraged. They are told that teachers don't make money. They are told the downside of going into the field. However, there are so many benefits. And like I said, it is an area where we are needed. And if we're going to have infrastructure in our community, we have to go into it. But so my question is, do you know of any programs or any institutions that are offering incentives or doing any type of programs to entice young Black men to come into education?
Well, my sister Lady J, I've read many articles. Let me recommend that we Google articles. The first thing we need to do is to Google articles, because I might tell you of a program that I know of, but somebody may be listening from another place. So what I'm encouraging us to do is to Google, go online and Google articles talking about the role that Black men play in the classroom. Also, you can go to various blogs and podcasts of brothers and sisters talking about that. In fact, when you Google, it'll take you to those different programs online. There are programs, just like the Vulcan Society does for the fire department, where they mentor young, aspiring firefighters. There are organizations that you can reach out to, but they're very local in nature. We should nationalize. But it's something, because every state has different requirements to be an educator.
Right.
So a lot of times they'll change. So let me recommend that you do that, and then just turn it over to anyone else that's listening to the program that may know of a program that you know of. Because wherever you may be locally, if you know of a program, there's a chance that people in that program know other programs around the country.
All right.
So I recommend to Google the concept, the role that Black teachers play in the classroom. I've seen a lot of articles written on that.
Right.
And I've seen programs done on that. Brother Hatim, do you know of any concepts that you could further this?
Now, I just posted up an article about some studies done on Black men in the classroom and how important they are. So there's something up on Gye-Nyame Journey, but Lady J probably would know better than me, because she works, I'm in administration. She's directly in the classroom, so she probably got some programs that she could plug some people into too. But she was probably thinking more on a national level. So if we're going to make something like this happen, what this is telling us is that we in this room may have to be the ones to create the national type of organization where we could plug and plug men into the classroom. Now, I also have Sister Navita on the line, so I'm going to bring Sister Navita. Turn down the background sound, Sister Navita. Sister Navita is about to come on the line. She's been asking about you, Brother Kaba.
It's turned down. It's turned down. My question is there a difference? Have you seen a difference in how our children learn as compared to European children?
Yes. I'd also like to say that our experience as a people, well, let me answer your question. And I want to be careful how I say this.
I'm going to hang up and listen.
There really is no such thing as an African-centered curriculum. Because when education was first formed, the only people in the classroom were African. So that African people didn't say, this is for African people. Education was for a universal mind that could absorb and assimilate the laws of nature. Because that's really what you're doing. You're absorbing the laws of nature in that classroom. You're just using math, science, language arts, social studies, physical education, arts and crafts. You're just using those like a meditator uses a mantra to focus in on the real lesson that you have to learn. The original method of learning, which is really deeply steeped in the DNA of black people, because we are the original, we're really the only people, is holistic learning. It's not a left brain thing or a right brain thing. Some people say if you're right-handed, you use the left side of your brain, which is analytical. That's where your mathematician and scientist, your logician, is on the left side of your brain. If you're left-handed, you use the right side of your brain, which is your artist, your musician, your analogical brain. And in this society, even with this New Age thing, people are talking about the two hemispheres of the brain. My study of brain anatomy is African folk are whole brain. So, for example, I would give children an assignment in math to draw the equation, draw math, sing science. Here's an activity you can do right now. If you find that you are right side dominant, like if you carry your packages in the right side, start to carry things in the left side with your left hand. If you find that if you write with your right hand, start to write with your left hand. Now, I'm not saying to write important things with your left hand, but what I'm saying is to write, like if you're going to the store and you're making a list, start to write with your left hand. Become ambidextrous. Because when you start to use the other side of your brain, you then can learn how to use both sides of your brain at the same time. There's also something called synthesis, which is the concept that you use multiple senses at one time. Like, for instance, people can smell music.
Right.
Okay, you can see different colors as you listen to different music, which means that if you're doing that, you're not only using your sight, but your smell at the same time. And so what I'm noticing, and children love to do this, by the way, they really enjoy pushing the envelope in their lives. What I've noticed is that we are whole brain people. We don't just use one side of the brain, we use both sides of the brain. However, in this society that uses only one side, like math, you study equations. For instance, you study rate times time equals distance. You take a math test, 10 questions. However, nobody told that brother that got 9 wrong out of 10. They told him, you failed. You don't understand rate times time equals distance. But nobody told that brother that every time you throw that ball into the hoop, you are doing rate times time equals distance. Because the rate that you throw the ball times the time it's in the air determines the distance. What happens if you brought the gym teacher and the math teacher in the class? Like, for instance, here's another example that I give you. One of the things that get most children in trouble, some children, is they throw paper in the trash can in the classroom. So what I used to do is I used to say, okay, so you want to throw paper in the classroom, right? And they all get scared. I said, no, come on. And so I said, okay, here's this. Okay, I'm going to put the garbage can right here, the trash can right here, and you're going to stand right there. And I want you to tell me, out of 10 shots that you take, I want you to tell me how many you're going to get in. And for every one you get right, I'm going to give you a dime or a nickel, whatever, or what was in my pocket. And so they'll tell me, I'll get 10 out of 10. And all of a sudden, some have gotten it, but some have not. So what did I just teach them? I took something that could have gotten them sent to the principal's office or get them in trouble. I turned that around and I taught them a class on probability and statistics. A child gets problems wrong in math. Let's say finding the denominator. and young sister gets 8 wrong out of 10, she told she's failed. But she put her headset on, and she sing Girl on Fire by Alicia Keys. Now, Ahine can sing. But no one ever told Ahine that she couldn't have started that song without a fraction. 2/4 time, 3/4 time. She couldn't sing the song without thinking in bass 4. All musicians and dancers think in bass 4, not bass 10. 0, 1, 2, 3, 1 set, 0 left over. So what is 5 in bass 4 is the letter 5 in the bass 10. What is 1, 0 in the bass 4 is 5 in bass 10. So Ahine lives in bass 4 because she's singing quarter note, half note, eighth note, 16th note. So when you sing, you sing in fraction. But when you're in math class, they tell you this is how you're going to do it. But what happens if you took the choral teacher or the music teacher and had the music teacher teach fractions in music at the same time that the math teacher was teaching fractions in the classroom? Right. What would happen if the gym teacher was teaching rate times time equals distance on the basketball court at the same time that the math teacher was teaching rate times time in the classroom? Everybody don't learn the same way. See, this is how we have to change this. We have to do this. They're not going to do it. And, like I understand everybody saying, you need to be teaching culture. Listen, 85% of the people that would be teaching our children culture, they would get it so wrong, you would end up wishing that you never made them teach it. They can't even teach our children the subjects that they were assigned to teach. How are they going to teach a subject they don't know nothing jack about?
Right.
I hope I answered my sister Navita's question.
Hey, well, and that and then some. But Elder, you promised me from 9:15 to 10:15, and we are at 10:35. I mean, really. I mean, and if you want to go on, we could go on. But I don't see anybody else.
Well, we can.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
Yeah, well, we can wrap this up because I'm getting ready to. I got that piece with Philippe Matthews tonight.
Right.
In the Kemetic Wisdom School.
Oh wait, hold on. Tell them
family, I just want to
tell them about the Kemetic Wisdom School real quick.
Yeah, the Kemetic Wisdom School is an online class that offers the community online. Brother Hakeem, you in the Kemetic Wisdom School, right?
Well, I'm a student. I'm working towards getting up on there. But I am going to post up a link for them to get on there. So you're on there, and also he's working with Digitanomics. Me and brother Philippe, we did a talk yesterday, and I'll be posting up the show so that you get some more information. And one of the things we're gonna be working on is getting you and brother Philippe here, so that we could go and try to do a Digitanomics conference, so that people can understand what's going on. Because maybe we can have you back on where we can focus a little bit more on talking about the whole concept of Digitanomics, because you're involved with it, I'm involved with it, Phil's involved with it, and we got all this information that's flowing in our community that a lot of people don't know what to do with. And
absolutely. It's Ujanomics at its best, man. When you talk about cooperative economics, Digitanomics and the affiliate marketing is real close, man. It is Ujanomics in motion. And, for the Kemetic Wisdom School, you go to Shock Metaphysics, SHOCKMETAPHYSICS. Brother Hakeem, if you could possibly please put up a...
I'm doing it right now. I'm putting it up right now.
And then put Shock in the slot, and you'll pay half price, $14.98 a month. You're not going to beat that when scholars like Obert Shaka Dr. Leonard Jeffries come to you and teach you lessons online. And I encourage you, family, for those that would like to purchase the book, Spirituality Before Religions, it's up on Amazon, Amazon.com. Spirituality Before Religions by Kaba, Hiawatha, Kamene. If you want to do it on a personal level where I will sign it for you, I recommend that you go to my website. Well, first let me give you my email. You can go to my email, and which is Kamene, Kamene 777 at AOL.com. Kamene 777 at AOL.com, and you can reach out and let me know, and I'll get back to you as to how you can order that book through me. But if you want to go through Amazon, you can do that too. The advantage with me is that I'm more than willing to sign it for you.
Right.
And so, you know, the other piece that I'd like to tell you is to go to my website, which is www.kabakamene.com. KABAKAMENE.com. And you put your email in the slot, and my free e-course that is dedicated to the development of spirituality before religion, because before I dropped the book, I wanted to talk to the community about what I was about to do so that it didn't come as a shock to you, so that you get my free e-course and you'll get my 45-page study guide for free. For those that want to homeschool, or you just want to homeschool yourself, you just want to understand Africans as the original family on the planet, or Africans in Europe, or Africans in America, my study guide will list all the books, 45 pages, and it's free. So you go to www.kabakamene.com, put your name in, and not just that, but a lot of my other materials will come to you also, which I'm sure you'll find interesting. So I just thank you for your support. And for those who have already purchased my book, thank you, Duawu, which in the Kemetic African language means thank you many times over. Eternal thanks for your support and for all that you do to make it happen. Because, family, when you support the work that I'm doing, you support the work that I'm doing. When you support me, it allows me to do the work that I have planned for the future. So I thank you for your support. Brother Hatim, I thank you for this opportunity to talk to the community, to let them know what's going on. And to end on a positive note, I travel many places. I visit many of our communities all around the world. I see a lot of beautiful things happening. And I've got good news and I've got bad news. And the good news is we are going to make it to the promised land, like Dr. King said. But there's some of us ain't going to make it. That's the bad news. But the good news is we are going to make it. There are great things happening. Our people are doing great things in many different places. There are places for improvement. But that's what life is about. It's about the journey. And it's about moving forward as a people. So I thank you for this opportunity to be able to speak with you, and I look forward to the future. Keep on keeping on, because it ain't over till we win. Support those of us who are out here, just myself. But to you, Brother Hatim, support brother and his work. Support Philippe Matthews and his work. Support Renoko Rashidi and his work. Support the brothers and sisters that are out here doing the work. Because with your support, we're able to better do the work that we're doing. So thank you so much, because it ain't over till we win.
I say. So family, check out Kaba Kamene at it's what is it? I put it up. It's kabakamene.com. Also, I put up the link to the Kemetic Wisdom School, and we also have the link for Spirituality Before Religion. that you get off of Amazon, or you also go to the website and support the elder. And family, we're going to work on getting him back on the show, as well as getting him here to Columbus. So we want to give him a black hand here at the Gye-Nyame Journey, and thank him for calling in. Family, I want to thank each and every last one of you for taking the time for joining us. I want to thank everybody that called in. Lady J, Carmen, Sister Navita, and we out. So with that, family, I want to remind you, thank you for standing in the congregation of the mighty, the home of the stubborn minority, the place where your hustle builds muscle. This is Gye-Nyame Journey Media. This is a Heart of a Simple production, and you just joined us on Gye-Nyame Talk. And this is a Heart of a Simple production, where we strive to blow up your old paradigms. Family, I will see you in the morning for the Daily Toast. All right, for those that are interested, get up early, look for the link. You can also sign up on the Black Signal. Go to you could text Toast TOAST to 25456. Also, those that just want the general messages that let you know when stuff is going down, like when I have the family members like Elder Kaba in the house, all you gotta do is text the letters GNJ to 25456 so you can stay up with Gye-Nyame Journey. Stay linked in because we're going to be having our giveaways. And family, I am out. Once again, peace.